Hi everyone, my name's Andy Cummins. Quick question for you. So when the tide is in, is that an aspect of yin or an aspect of yang? And when the tide is out, is that an aspect of yin or is that an aspect of yang? So this video is being done because I wanted to show you two things. First of all, I've got a new book come out called The Ultimate Guide to Yin Yang. I hope you enjoy it. But second, there'll be a playlist which at the side of this video somewhere, the next video will come up once I start filming them. I'm sure they will. So if you're interested in getting The Ultimate Guide to Yin Yang, click the link below and it'll be out in July 2021. So these videos plus the playlist are the promotion for that. But if you're watching this after that date, it's already out. Go and get it. Enjoy. So basically, I want to get across to you guys that I needed to understand yin yang. One day I was just doing one of my other books and I thought, I really need to get to grips with yin yang. I'm going to write a book about it. So I went and did as much study as possible. I collated all the information, all the data. I spent months in Manchester University Library, John Rylands Library, away, and I've pulled it all together and I've made it into hopefully the classic Cummins style, which is making it easy for you guys to understand. So no matter what you're doing, martial arts, traditional Chinese medicine, the I Ching, Qi, Amatsu, not Amatsu Tatara, what's the other one? Shiatsu. If you're doing all that, then basically this will help you get along. Even samurai people. So a lot of people don't realize how much yin yang affects samurai life, or isn't a fundamental level there. So what I'm going to do with this video is, obviously when the next videos go up, please click them and go through the playlist. I'll explain everything in there in detail, so I'm not going to do detail in the video. And for those that are interested in the book, please do get a copy or pre-order. It would be amazing. If you pre-order it, guys, that would be so good. It was so good for me. So I've got some notes here. So basically, the book goes through many things, lots of things. What I've done is got every bit of yin yang and pulled it together and put it in. So here's just a very small list of what's in there. So we've got the history of yin yang. What actually when did the yin yang symbol come into being? Was it before the idea, of yin yang? Did they have the symbol first? Well, no, it wasn't. It was actually quite late. What's the original version of the I Ching? The original version of the I Ching was actually different to the one we've got now. Is the I Ching the oldest book in the world, or is it not? Because actually, the version you've got now is probably from the 18th century, or the arrangement of it. So another question I've got here is, when you go and you're reading about old Chinese things, whether you're doing kung fu, you're doing samurai stuff, you're doing medicine, you find 4 directions, you find the 6 directions, you find the 8 directions, you find the 12 directions, and then you even find the 24 directions of the 12 directions mixed. And you're like, what is going on? You know what I mean? In the West, we've got the compass bearings and that's it. But there they've got the 12 animals, you've got the 8 of this, you've got the 4 of that. And how are those things formed? Well, I've gone through and shown you exactly how those things are formed and where they're from and all that. And also, what's the relevance of a circle and a square? Chinese coins have a circle inside with a square hole. That represents yin yang as well. It also represents the dome of heaven and the angular nature of the planet, of Earth. What is the motion of yin yang? How does yin yang move? In the beginning, there's this start. Well, actually, not even that. Some people in some theories think there isn't a beginning. There's just a constantness of yin yang. So the idea that the universe, morning butterfly, the universe is in friction between yin and yang moving, which is the battery of chi, if you like, going around, and that is creating the 10,000 things. Did it begin? Does it end? Is it always been going? These are the questions that I've gone into in there. So of course that leads on to the relationship of yin yang to the Tao, the way. How do those two? We all say the Tao and we all say yin yang. How do they actually go in relationship with each other? I've talked about gender in this, about the idea of feminine and male being yin and yang, and is yin and yang really female, male? How do people interact? How do we actually use it for gender understanding and all that? Also, how yin yang has shaped Chinese culture. So throughout the years, yin yang has been there in China, and you can clearly see from primitive times the idea of yin yang being simple, and the old guy with his fur on and his little stick watching the shadows, the yin and yang go across the tundra, if you like, all the way to complex Confucian ideas where they've mixed it with yin and yang, and you get the Confucian gentleman who's gone into these multiple studies. And that leads me on, where is the School of Yin Yang today? There's actually a school called the Yin Yang School, but it's unfortunately not there anymore. But there's so much information left that we can rebuild it, or rebuild most of it. And that's the aim of this sort of book. Of course, you've got the I Ching, and the I Ching is literally a yin yang manual, the changes of yin and yang moving. I'll explain all that. I go into some traditional Chinese medicine, or at least the foundation of what you need to understand to go into traditional Chinese medicine. We do yin yang and sex, so Taoist sex rituals and how you perform in the bedroom according to yin yang. Also, in the final section, it basically brings all of them together and shows you how you should steal from the way. And this is genuinely a Chinese concept of stealing. And it uses the original ideogram there to basically thieve from the way. And the basic idea is that you position yourself in the correct way, that yin and yang are flowing around you in the correct manner, which of course leads into feng shui and all that. So, and in the end, once you've read the book and you've got there, if you utilize everything, you transcend and become the dragon. That is why often Lao Tzu is known as the dragon, because he's mastered yin and yang. And in many of the sort of later stories, Confucius is scared by the shape of the dragon, i.e. Confucianism is overdone by Taoism. But of course, you know, that's a later thing, which I'll go into in this book. So if any of that seemed of interest to you, and you should be seeing the images come up by Jay Kane, he's doing it again. I don't know if they're still going on. But basically, if any of that interests you, please click the link below, and we'll absolutely get it on pre-order, or order it if it's out, and it will teach you everything plus a lot more. I have literally drained every resource of all yin yang and pulled it in together, and so you guys can understand it, because it was just one of those things that everybody talks about but nobody really gets unless you're absolutely like a Chinese medicine specialist or you're an I Ching specialist. So I assume many people out there are not going to be a Chinese medicine specialist or an I Ching specialist. You're doing this because you're into Kung Fu, you're into Jiu-Jitsu, you're into martial arts, you're into samurai. The sort of like effect of yin and yang on Japan is massive, as it is on China and Korea. So you've got to get this understanding. I've wrote this book so it is a foundation stone. You can literally stand on it and move on to the next step. And hopefully, if you're an expert, you'll go and have this as a reference book to help teach your students. Right, guys, don't forget, get yourself a copy of the book, or at least pre-order it. And there should be, after today, more videos coming up at the side. Please go through them, and I'll go in much more detail about the idea of yin and yang. Enjoy.